It's California Edition, and we are coming to you from Sacramento, California. We are joined by Tony Mendoza. He is now a member of the California State Senate. He had served 6 years in the State Assembly. So, sir, I want to get a sense from you. What are the differences between the two bodies in your mind?
Well, it's pretty much the same. We do the same work.
Sure.
Only that it seems like on the Senate side, the pace is a lot slower.
Interesting.
So you have to kind of adapt to that pace.
Okay.
But it's kind of nice because you don't feel as rushed. You feel a little bit more that you're being more concise and more thorough on not only what you're doing, but what you're preparing to do. Because you don't want to. Sometimes when you make rash decisions or you rush into things don't come out.
And that must be nice for you as a teacher. You want to feel like you're working in a thorough fashion. What about the fact that in the Assembly there are 80 members, in the Senate there are 40? I mean, when you get to 40, it's like a large classroom. You're going to know everyone. At 80, it's a little harder.
Right, but 40 is very intimate. Really gives you an opportunity to get to know the other members.
Right.
And at the same time, it just creates more of an opportunity for you to make a real impact in your district, because you only have to go through a few members to get support for your bills or your legislation or your ideas versus going through a much bigger house.
At the same time, your district, you have more constituents than a member of the U.S. Congress in a California district. Is it about 1 million? Almost 1 million
Almost
constituents.
1 million people, that's correct.
That's tough. I mean, there are states that are smaller than 1 million. And so how do you serve the needs? What are the strategies to serve the needs of close to 1 million constituents in, communities that you've told me are, face some challenges?
Yeah. And it's very difficult, but what we've come up with is that we have a staff that's very focused on going out in the community, getting to know all the community leaders, and making ourselves available to them, telling them what resources we have through the state so that they know who to reach. We can't be at every event.
Of course.
We can't be at every meeting, but we want to make sure we know the key leaders know if there's a constituent that comes up with an issue or needs help with something. They know, well, call the senator's office because they can do this for you.
But at least you're in an urban compact district. There are some senators in North State. I mean, they have 8 counties. Their districts are the size of states practically.
Right. Yeah, our district is pretty compact. If you look at LA County, all the districts in LA County are very compact, which is a blessing.
Right.
I think if geographically we were too far apart, it would be very difficult for us to operate.
You were honored by being named chair of the Labor and Employment Committee. That's quite a position, tremendous influence and power in the best sense, really can make a positive impact on our state. I know you've just arrived. That being said, what do you hope to look at? What issues are kind of percolating in the Labor and Employment Committee?
Yeah. It's the Labor and Industrial Relations Committee.
Thank you for the correction.
And it really gives me an opportunity to really work closely with the business aspect of what we do. Labor, we know that we're always fighting for workers' rights, protections, wage issues. But you know what? I also want to start looking at how we work closely with our small businesses as much as our big businesses, and begin to kind of create a good working relationship through the governor's office, because I think we all could benefit from a good economy. We're experiencing that. We shouldn't be attacking or having some sort of animosity between the two.
It's interesting you say that, because it's hard to deny, sir, that throughout the years there has been some animosity, as you said, between labor, whatever that means, and corporations, whatever that may mean. But you're looking to be a bridge builder on these issues.
That's always been the way I operate. I think I've already worked closely with small businesses and business in general, because I truly believe that obviously they provide jobs for my constituents. They create a big impact in my district. But at the same time, what kind of jobs are we talking about? Are they quality jobs? Are they good paying jobs? Are they low wage jobs? Are there jobs that the abuse take advantage of workers? We don't want those kind of jobs.
And let's talk about jobs, because I was recently reading an article in New Yorker, of all publications, and it says, California bests Texas, which was a great headline to see as a Californian. But there is one area where we've seen a bit of stubbornness, and that is in our jobless rate. Our jobless rate is still stubbornly high when compared to other states and when compared to the nation. No doubt our economy is turning around. You can't deny that. But we still have an unemployment rate above our sister states. What can we do? What can you do? What's the answer to tackle unemployment?
A few years ago, the governor had some really good initiatives and really wanted to work with providing tax incentive for businesses that actually created jobs in California. Outside of the current jobs that they had, anything that they any additional jobs that they added.
Right.
He would create like a half incentive for them. He didn't really talk about that this time around when he did his State of the State speech. But I'm really hoping that we start turning to that attention. How do we make our businesses here in California thrive and make it attractive for businesses to locate here and create those jobs that we desperately need?
Is it a question of looking at our regulatory environment? Because, you know, when we heard the cry of Texas is doing better than us, it was always, the focus was, you know, we're overregulated, we're overtaxed, and so do we need to look at regulatory reform?
There is some of that. I think regulatory reform is might be necessary. I know some people see both sides of it.
Right.
I'm open to it. I think there is some need for that. But if you don't talk to anybody who actually works in Texas, like I have family that work there, the type of job we're talking about that they're bragging about is not really that good. When you show up at work, like, sorry, we don't need you today, go back.
Right.
I mean, that's just wrong. They do take advantage of the workers. So I do, you know, let's be careful when we're talking about jobs and you're comparing. Let's compare correctly the apples. We compare apples to oranges because Texas. If you talk to people that actually work there, they're not too happy. They just, you know, it's not a very friendly state for workers.
I want to ask you about education. Of course, you were was it a fourth grade teacher?
Well, I taught fourth grade for 4 years.
Fourth grade, okay, fourth grade teacher. You are on the Education Committee in the Senate, and it's hard to deny that Governor Brown, almost from day one in his second tour, has been a huge proponent of K-12 and has been looking to fund K-12 to the maximum level possible. The budget came out, his proposal, another nice 3% bump for K-12. What's your sense of where we are with K-12? And I'm going to lead you a bit, you know, vis-a-vis maybe the UC system where there's a little animosity between the two governor's offices and the UC offices. You know, have we erred too much on the side of K-12?
Well, K-12 is where it all starts. Yeah. Every time you hear it, it's like, oh, but if they don't know how to read by fourth grade, we're done. We have problems after that.
You know what I learned? I can't remember if you told me this, but when the actuarial tables are made by prison construction companies, they look at third grade reading scores.
I've heard that before. That wasn't me that said that. But
third grade reading scores. I mean, so you're right. If they're not on the right track by fourth grade.
So if you know that this is where it starts, our resources should be focused there. And I understand that the higher ed, I mean, in my opinion, it should be very low cost, if not free. I mean, we all want to get to that point. Right now, budget-wise, I don't think we're at that point yet, but I think with this governor, he understands that. He wants that. The UC thinks, well, we know, if we're not getting the money from the state, we have to charge the students. And students right now, they're feeling the pinch too, working.
But it's hard to ignore the fact, it seems like the state and the UC system playing a game of chicken. I mean, it's a little daunting to see. And, you know, you got some tremendous political minds. You got Janet Napolitano. She'd been governor of Arizona. She had been head of Homeland Security. You got Governor Brown, who's been, you know, an icon in our state. And they're battling, and it seems like at the OK Corral, there's going to be a battle.
Right, and I hope that the students are not the ones that are going to come out the losers here.
Exactly.
Because we want them to have a good experience, good college experience at the same time. We don't want them to pay dearly for it.
But what the governor did in his budget proposal is he provided for extra funds to the UC only if they didn't increase tuition. And so, wow. And he didn't provide the extra funds that they requested. He gave X, they wanted 2X. And so where does this end, sir?
Well, it ends hopefully with all of us at the table trying to find a common solution. And at this point, I think, like you said, I think they're kind of facing off. But you know what? The May revise will be here in about a few months here. Yeah. So you know what? When we get there, I think the tension and everything will be worked out. All the details will be worked out.
Are you hearing noise about this in your district? Are people talking about these issues focused on education?
You know, the students are the ones that are feeling it. Some of the parents, these students are working 2 or 3 jobs trying to make ends meet, part-time jobs, and I think that's kind of unfortunate because you really wanted to focus on their education.
He is California State Senator Tony Mendoza. My name is Brad Pomerance, and this is California Edition.